Dun dun dun. We're live and direct. I got the StreamYard link out there. I do have it pinned as well. I want to welcome everybody that's here so far. As you know, we're going to give it a few minutes to let people come in. And then we'll begin the discussion. Jason Davis, how are you, sir? Odin, Jeff Ross, Hoosier News Now. John, what's up? Good to see you, buddy. We'll give it just a little bit for let some people come in. Then we'll start off with some of the lawsuit stuff. Then we'll get into a deeper discussion about PII or Phi or however you want to pronounce it. What's up, Let's and the Awakened Satan, Jason, Cindy, Joe, Dan, Press. Good to see you. David, North Carolina in the house. Snap Phase, always a pleasure. Buzz, Lenny. All right. Give it another 45 seconds, maybe a minute, and then we'll start up. Anybody wants to hop on? It is an open panel. Foshin, you want in? Hop on in, buddy. We'll be talking about personally identifiable information. Frank, good to see you. Pig's Daughter, awesome. Oklahoma Outlaw Audit. Say my name. Say my name, Oklahoma. Stephen Jenny, always a pleasure. Lost Boy, how you doing? Dale Francis, Jacksonville, Jayville. 420 love, y'all. Good. Ed for Action. Auditing Erie County says I'm fixing to come. I don't think we need to know that, bro. I don't think we need to know that. That's not this kind of party here, brother. You're looking for the villages in Florida. That's what you're looking for, brother. You're looking for the people with the loofahs on their antenna. That's the live stream you want. But seriously, yeah, seriously. So we're gonna start off. We're 3 minutes into it, so people can rewind if they want and check out the information. Brandon, awesome member. That's right, buddy. Hoosier News Now said he's looking for Joe Cool Stream. That's funny. So yeah, we're gonna start off with some lawsuit information. So everybody knows for suing the city of Easley, South Carolina, for passing that unconstitutional ordinance. It took almost a year for it to just get past the judges, right? So it took about a year since I filed it for it to finally go through. They were finally served with the lawsuit. They did submit an answer the other day, and of course, as you know, they're not liable for anything. They're not able to be sued because sovereign immunity, yada yada yada, whole bunch of this, whole bunch of that. So the fight is on there. With regards to my Dothan, Alabama case against the sheriff of the county of Houston County in Dothan, Alabama, the judge has just sent out an order that says mediation is mandatory. So we have to decide by August 6th if we want to use the magistrate judge as a mediator or if we want to get a private mediator. So I'm happy with using the magistrate judge as a mediator. because I don't want to pay $1,500 for a private mediator or something like that. I don't have the money for that. Adam, my email address, brother, is patriotdiscussions@gmail.com. Let me see if I can throw that up here for you. It should be coming through now if somebody else hasn't already put it up there. Yeah, so hopefully there's settlement talks heading down the line from that case. That case to me isn't one that, even though I don't mind taking it to trial if need be, there's no case law really to be made in that case because I was out on the sidewalk. Everybody knows you have a right out there. I mean, there's no new case law to be made there. Now, however, my other Dothan case, I definitely want to take that to trial because that one, we were inside the building. We were inside the Health and Human Services building for a good hour, handcuffed. And so there is going to be case law to be made in that case, because I want it firmly established that we have the right to be in the buildings, to be in the public areas of the buildings and recording. And that's not been put in any case law yet that I know of. I know some people have reached settlements when they were in public areas of public buildings, and they got arrested, like Kevin Dunn from Georgia. He's got a couple of cases where he got settlements and he was arrested. I can't remember what the name of his channel is right now. I did a video on him last Thanksgiving about one of the cases that he had in Fort Valley. Look up Kevin Dunn versus Fort Valley, Middle District, Georgia, and it'll bring up the case. But so I don't know any case law specifically laying out that right. Now you got Kabuchi versus Bolter in the First Circuit, where that gentleman was arrested. He was recording in the hallway outside of the room that had the public meeting in it. But it doesn't, again, specifically say, yes, he had a right to be there and recording. So yeah, that's definitely some case law we're looking to make there. But some stuff got pushed back with my Social Security case. Reply briefs are now due, I believe, July 12th. But hopefully by August, mid-August, that case will be wrapped up and we'll have a verdict. And hopefully that verdict is me and Foshin coming out on the winning side of that, and making it so that it's easier for people to understand, as far as in the GSA buildings, what regulations and all that apply. And again, I'm going to be doing a video on the defense that I went with. Some of the research I did and some of the manuals and stuff like that. I'll take everybody through it so you can see my process. So hopefully people see that and find that interesting. We'll never know. But tonight we're going to be talking about personally identifiable information. And again, the reason we're talking about that is because in almost every instance inside of a building, these people are screaming about, personally, identifiable information. This stuff's confidential. You're not allowed to see this. This is top secret. It's classified. So we're going to be talking about that. We got some some websites pulled up. We're going to look over some of the stuff that's been said about it, and what all the hype's about, and is it warranted? Um, does it even matter? So I'd like to get some people up and do an open panel, um, and have everybody express their thoughts and concerns, and maybe some insights. Doesn't matter whether you're friend or foe. I posted a link. It's linked up at the top. Yep, StreamYard is linked above if you want to pop on up. I'm going to see about sharing the screen here and getting this information up. All right, let me see if I can enlarge that, make it bigger. I don't think it's gonna. Oh, wait, there we go. I got a touch screen desktop, so it's kind of touchy when you go to start touching it. So, and I'll link this. As a matter of fact, hold on, let me go grab the link here. I'll post it right now in the chat. This is the link where this is coming from. If anybody wants to follow along, if anybody wants to, print this out, if you're going out auditing, you want to print this out and take it with you, so that way when they do bring up, this, you can't be getting this person's information. What's up? I see you, George Daly. Good to see you. Dangerous Liberty, Claudette, George Daly. Want to make sure I say hey to all you fine folks. But I mean, everybody in this chat, everybody that's watching this video, we've all seen, these people go crazy over this information, right? But the fact of the matter is that having this information, just having it in and of itself, there's nothing illegal about it, right? Absolutely nothing illegal. I could give anybody my social security number, right? I could say it right now on this live stream, and people from all over the world can hear it, right? And they can even write it down. And they could, tape it to their desk, or, tape it to their windshield or whatever. It doesn't matter, because just having that information isn't illegal, right? But let's go ahead and look over this little piece of information right here. And this is from the Justice Department. Again, I linked that. I'll link that again. Mr. Erie County, good to see you, brother.
I got my ears on.
There you go.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're coming in loud and clear.
I got a fucking echo going.
Do you?
Yeah, I got the cell phone going.
Oh, all right. I'm going to say
I was watching on multiple devices. That's how much I love Rogue Nation.
I know it, brother. I know it. I appreciate it, man. So what was the end outcome? I had to bounce out of your live stream earlier. What was the end outcome of that that standoff, the 20 cops versus the pineapple?
Yeah, so they were just there to waste money and collect overtime. Totally overreacting. I was like in the middle of it, Rogue. Like I was up in that thing, and the guy, he's got his SWAT helmet on, and he's got his AR-15 out there. He's like, Dan, move back. I'm like, I'm not built like you guys. I'm not a scared little bitch, dude. I'm just filming what's going on. Ain't nobody gonna shoot nothing. You guys are overreacting.
Dude, that's so funny because a couple of years ago when I was out in LA, we were filming. There was a hostage situation at a funeral home. It's right next to a gas station. And so me and Hoosier News Now and God, Eyes on the State were out there, and News Now Cali was out there with us as well. And we were at this gas station. I mean, we were just right by the fence. I mean, we were real close to the action. And these cops are all out there, and they're trying. You know those signs that the gas station have? They're like the metal signs, and they've got the weight down at the bottom, but they can go back and forth with the wind or whatever. But they're like thin sheet
Yeah.
metal or whatever. Okay, so there was like five cops hiding behind this sign, right? And I look over at them and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so scared. Can I hide behind you guys too? And they're like, yeah, come on, you can hide behind us. I'm like, you guys are bitches.
Dude, I swear to God, anything for officer safety. They're freaking pulling everybody out of that house at gunpoint. Like five people shooting, pointing at guns. Like I've had my door kicked in and taken at gunpoint. There's something that sticks with you for a while.
Exactly.
They don't get it, dude. They just coming in like a hammer. It's just like, hey, we get to use this equipment we got, guys. Let's go knock that door in.
Dude, I'm not lying to you.
The FBI kicked in 2 unlocked doors at my house. Like, you guys ever heard of a doorknob? It's quieter.
Yeah. That was
insane.
Yeah, no, it was a special moment out there. Something I'll always remember for the rest of my life, dude. Because it was just so hilarious. First of all, that they thought the sign would protect them from any kind of gunfire. You know what I mean? Like, you'd be much better off behind the gas pump. You know what I mean? Like, at least there's more metal. There's some thickness there that might stop the bullet. But and then they were. I was like, oh man, I needed you guys to protect me, and they totally were like, oh, I could see it, like. And this one guy, he even actually got up and tried to stand in front of me, like he's like, oh, I'll protect you. I'm like, seriously?
Maybe he was hitting on you, George.
Oh, it's a good possibility. I tell people all the time.
Guy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, men and women are attracted to me. I can't. It's a curse as well as a blessing.
Might be those Florida shirts, those Florida Hawaiian shirts.
Oh, people love them, dude. They just love them. Have you seen my ramen noodle shirt?
Yeah.
It's the all over print. Oh, I wore that out the other day, and I got so many compliments on that. People were loving it. I went to the grocery store in it, and people are already there thinking about food, and they see my beef ramen noodle shirt, and they start salivating, dude. They're like, oh my God, this guy's the best. Oh, Sci-Fi's in the house. Hey, Sci-Fi.
Yep. My friend seen a picture of you in that shirt, and his daughter had to have it. No, she's got one.
I'm a trendsetter, bro. I'm a trendsetter. People see that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Cy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been caught up on everything. I saw you. You posted the video with the stepping up to the podium for a little bit of education, if you will, about
public comments. Yeah,
public comments. Yes, that was awesome. Because you basically stepped up and said, okay, no. You know what I mean? You're not going to do that on our watch. The people that are watching, they care about our rights, right? There's some that just sit back and just don't care.
She
but and you don't have to actually do anything, right? Um, to be a part of the movement, or right. You know what I'm trying to get at, George. You don't have to actually go out there and attempt to do this. But I just wanted to chime in with you guys. Who else do you have up on the panel?
Uh, I've got auditing Erie County. Hold on, let me take off
Oh
the.
yeah,
I
yeah,
got the
Erie
thing.
County. Yeah, what's up?
what's going on?
Hey, what's up, Erie County? Yeah,
Anybody's
I'm about
welcome.
a 2-hour drive from Carolina. From Fort Worth, Texas, from where I am, and I just want to chime in and see what I don't know what I haven't heard you say much about it, Rogue. I was just wondering if you could just give a quick update of what you thought about Carolina.
Um, I mean, it was terrible. I mean, I can't really say much more than that. I don't think
Yeah,
you
it.
saw the video, of course. I don't think there was any reasoning for what happened to her at all. Even if they even if they thought that she slighted them, which really she didn't. She was very nice about it. And she's everybody knows her. She's a sweetheart anyway.
Yeah, right. And they
She
knew
has
each
she gets
other.
a little guff here and there.
They all knew each other.
Oh, I'm
She
sure.
called
I'm
them
sure.
all out by names before this happened. And
Oh
you
yeah.
know, I
No, absolutely, absolutely.
I just I know there's been a lot of good feedback. As far as when I say feedback, a lot of love showed toward Carolina and what she did, because when you got a 60-year-old woman out there, and she's not the only one.
We almost met her. You ever met her before, Rogue?
No, I never got a chance to meet her.
We were supposed to meet her that one day in Uvalde, and they never made it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she has sent me friend requests on Facebook. We've kind of, I don't know, there's been just, side drama with open panels and whatnot. But other than that, what she's doing on the street, I totally always endorsed her. And I mean, holy cow, holy shit, you guys. Like, um this reminds me of what was the guy's name from Alaska, Rogue? Um, they, an old man. They took him and
Oh yeah, yeah.
slammed him to the ground. Um, I forget his name now, but there's so many elderly people that have been, you know, even some with mental health crisis, where the police just instead of de-escalating, they escalated it into and now, what I've been thinking about all day is, it has been said that her elbow and her shoulder was dislocated, or, taken out of joint. I mean, I know what that is. I've had my elbow dislocated. That's like a good 6 months to a year. Um, to,
For
and
rehab, yeah, for rehab and everything, yeah.
yes, and that's if you're able. I was when I did that. When I had that injury, I was in my 30s or 40s. You know what I'm saying? She's in her 60s, and he knew what he was gonna. He knew that he wanted to hurt her, And that's my whole point. He knew he wanted to hurt her, right? And we all heard the stop resisting after the death curl or the snoring.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Is there any
everybody.
word on the body camera footage on that yet?
I was just gonna say that
Yeah,
everybody's
that's
waiting on the body camera footage, but I mean, this is gonna be bad for him. I mean, I don't see how it can't be bad for him. What's up, friends and
well,
co?
it's a win-win as far as I think all the charges are going to get dropped and everything, but she may never be the same.
Well,
No
right,
matter, you know what I mean? Like,
right,
this is really messed up, man. Like, no matter what, he could get fired. She could win $1 million, and she's still gonna lose because she's fucked up, physically.
right. Absolutely, absolutely. There's a real cost to holding your government accountable, shall I say? You know what I mean? And when people think that they get a prize, like these guys that really latch into these stories that really expose deep corruption when we're talking, hundreds of
Yeah,
millions of dollars. I mean, their reward might be that they're, quote unquote robbed one
gone.
day while they're jogging in the park. You know what I mean?
Yeah, gone.
Yeah, and shot and killed during a quote unquote robbery gone wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's like, the free energy motor. These guys, they came up with the engine that can run off water and whatnot. Here we are. Um, you know, are we trying to make a perfect police, or are we trying to change what police should be? And that's my concern. Like, fuck the way, and I think, and a lot of people have been yelling, qualified immunity on this case, uh Rogue. And do you think perhaps that may be why the officer, Kruger, acted that way, because he thought he may be covered?
I ain't no qualified immunity on that one. That man acted alone.
In your opinion, I mean, did you guys see he had somebody handcuffed and slammed them down to the ground? There's been footage of that, right?
oh yeah, I mean,
And now
again,
we have this. But I mean, all the evidence aside, what I'm trying to really, let's get down to the core of it. What it is like, these cities, they allow these officers to keep coming back and keep getting higher. There's got to be some kind of stop point, some kind of blocker, you know?
well, it's got to be the people, man. It's got to be the people, and it's got to be the people that are educating the citizens of that community, because only through community outrage is anything going to happen. You know what I mean? Frankenstein lived up in that castle for a long ass time before they grabbed the pitchforks and went up there. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so, basically what I'm saying is that, me going to, let's say, Dothan, Alabama might institute some small change. But if people really want to institute change in Dothan, Alabama, then it's going to have to be the citizens and the residents that live in Dothan, Alabama, taking part and getting involved with their community and letting people know. It's got to be quick. You know what I mean? Like, people, they got to realize that at any moment you could recall them in an election, or you can impeach them, or you can have them investigated. You know what I mean? As it is now, these politicians, they're in office, they're like, oh, what are you going to do? Elections 3 years from now, people will forget about that shit. You know what I mean? I'll hand out some bottles of water like the mayor in Dothan did, and pretty soon, I'm a hero. I'm saving the local community from dehydration. You know what I mean? And so forget about my millions of dollars in spending because I handed out bottles of water. That's what I did with that money. I bought water and, and, and then walked around and handed it out. So that's where that money went. And if people weren't riding her so hard on social media, I guarantee you they would have slipped that shit under the rug. You know what I mean? Like that shit's going on all over the country. I can't believe people think that she's an exception and not the rule because when you look at it, they're all doing it. To some degree
Right.
or not.
If they think they can get away with it, man,
Because
Yeah,
they have been getting away with it.
they're gonna do it.
Right.
well,
Even on camera, they so blatantly don't even care on camera. They do the shit.
it
They get
goes
away with it
back
so easy.
to the monologue. Power does what it wants, and as soon as these they start to feel a little bit of power, whether it be the power of waterworks, the something in the city, right? It doesn't even matter what it is. Public works, community services, whatever, and they feel they're above the law. A lot of times we vote these people in.
Right. Right. And that's what I'm saying. They fear nothing but their removal. That's what they fear, right? Because then they cannot continue their grift. Right? It's like an actor that's been blacklisted, and then you see him, 10 years later on YouTube, like whatever happened to this guy, and you see he's working at KFC or whatever, and he used to
Mhm.
be
Right.
a child star or whatever. That's what needs to happen to these politicians, but that can only happen if the majority of the people in that community are knowledgeable about what's going on, and if they're okay with what's going on. Some people might be okay with with what's going on. He's like, oh well, some people will be like, oh well, taxes and this and that happen everywhere, and so we got to pay our fair share. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
it's weird. Some people are just statists, because change is difficult and different.
And hey, when you bring up status, I watched the video earlier where you were speaking about how, speaking at a certain city or whatever, and being an open public statement is allowed because of how the tax program works. Can you elaborate a little bit about how you've been abroad? Like let's say you go to a different state and because you're speaking upon Florida, right? Let's say you went to Texas.
Yeah. Me and Mr. Erie County went to Texas a few years back now, right after the Uvalde incident, and we both, me and him, spoke at the Uvalde city council meeting there because we're in society we're what's known as constituting members of the body, right? So um, a lot of people involved in the freedom movement will tell you that the governments are corporations, right? And they are to a certain extent, right? But it's different than a corporation like McDonald's or GE or anything of that nature.
Exactly. Because
Right,
we fund them.
right. So and so basically we are the constituting members, and what constituting means is just that we agree to pay for all the shit, right?
Exactly.
So that's what constituting means. So we're the paying members of this body, right? This political body, this body corporate. And so when we reside and we give money, then we're part of that body. And that's what dictates what laws that we have to obey and different shit like that. I don't want to go into all of that, but
Right,
uh,
but my point was, does it transfer from state to state? As far as what we contribute for taxes, for a state to
When
tell
they
us,
take
well, you don't
federal
live
money,
here, you know.
well, you're never going to be able to track down every dollar and cent that you pay in federal taxes and find out
Absolutely,
what
absolutely.
what state it went to for what program or whatever. But because of that concept of mixing those funds and distributing them, we don't have to worry about it, right? I don't have to go in South Dakota and say, listen, $12.83 of my taxes that went to the federal government came to South Dakota for the testing of cow farts. So now I have a say in South Dakota about cow fart testing. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be like that.
well, you got the 14th Amendment too, equal access to everywhere in the United States.
Well, right. The 14th Amendment makes it so that the Bill of Rights applies to us no matter what state we're in. So you got that going for you. But the simple fact, again, of the matter is that because we're paying members of this entity, then we have the right to speak on matters, regardless if we live there or not. I mean, that would be idiotic.
You're looking at the wrong document, dude. You're supposed to be looking at livestock fucking regulations.
Right, and it only makes sense for like a city council meeting to be open to reporters to be able to come in and ask questions and make statements. And basically that's what all the citizens do when they come in. They're basically turned themselves into a member of the press.
Right, and
in my opinion.
Well, in some municipalities too, a lot of people are scared to speak up, for retaliation purposes and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
and I don't know if you saw, Manna was at the city council and had spoken. Carolina was there. She didn't want to speak. And, I'm kind of twisted on it, but I feel like it was a good thing. But I think everybody's seen the image of what, what I'm saying, like they did to her. I'm sure the city council and everybody, but I mean, man, it's such a powerful live video. If you know what I'm talking, have you seen that?
Yeah.
I want to drive there, but it's a week's drive. I'm so mad.
Yeah, it's from Wisconsin. It's I looked it up. I want to say a 5-hour
I'm talking
drive.
about CFW. I want to drive to Texas. And
yeah,
go
that's what I'm talking about.
I'm so mad. I
definitely would have went, but it's too short of a notice for me. I need 2 weeks, of course. I would have flew down there and asked them again if they needed a Yankee to come down to Texas to teach them how to be men.
Well, the thing is,
I asked them at the Uvalde City Council.
Just being there isn't going to do anything. It's you gotta be able. I mean, if you have a platform to expose what's going on, that'd be great. And then to be on scene would be even better, right? But what we need to do is just really, I mean, for me, I'm concerned about her health, and make sure she's okay and everything. But
I understand what you're saying.
It's such a crazy situation because
but in a situation like this, if pro-abortion people are going to judges' houses to sway their opinions, then I don't understand. Listen, if there was a cop down the road that did what I saw happen to CFW, I'd be outside his house every waking moment that I'm not at work. I'd be taking a lunch over there with a piece of Bristol board saying and showing everybody the video on my phone that comes around, and it would never, every day for the rest of my life, I'd be in front of that guy's house.
Man, that's absolutely is right. First and foremost, I want to say hey to Blind Justice. He's in the chat. And as we
Top
all
Blind
know,
Justice.
Blind Justice has been a recipient of retaliation by the tyrannical overlords that we have here. But Fab Daddy has put something on the screen. He says he's been watching 1A for years. Where has it gotten us? And I want to be clear here that, and I always tell people this, so I'm sure a lot of you already know, but the biggest change that I make, and the one that I'm most proud about, is the change within people that watch my content, right? It's the ability, it's the confidence that they get from learning and watching and then apply it in their own lives. That's the biggest
1,000% correct.
Yeah,
and also more people going out there and recording. You're creating awareness.
Right. And besides that, each one of us has gotten stuff done. Dan's gotten a shit ton of these illegal signs taken out of these buildings. He's had cops investigated. All of us have had, incidents like this. I had a pedo cop terminated after I informed the local community that he was a pedo cop.
Got rid of the elected sheriff, for God's sakes.
Yeah. I mean, so there's a lot that we do. I mean,
I'll tell you a few instances that are good examples. One is my friend was at a shooting range the other day, and his buddy owns the place, so there's 5 state troopers shooting there. And he gets in there, he oversees the 5 state troopers talking, and one says to the others, don't mess up, and you better understand the law, or you're going to end up on Auditing Erie County. It just goes to show you that even the law enforcement has a thought pattern to think twice about doing stupid stuff because they could be exposed.
1,000%.
Because we're here. That's some of the best examples.
Put it this way. I only record once in a while. I'm a IT guy. I would have never, ever recorded the police and put it on YouTube if I hadn't ran into Jeff NC Tyrant Hunter and Rogue and all these guys, met them, and I'm in Canada. One time I was outside the dollar store. I was going to get some money from my mother-in-law. She wanted some money, and saw some fire trucks, a whole bunch of crap. Went over to see what was going on, was recording. They had a guy in the back seat of the car, cuffed, and they saw me with the camera, and then they let him go. And they pulled 2 packs of native cigarettes out of his backpack, took those with them, let him out of the car, let him out of handcuffs, let him take his bike. I asked them what was going on. They said they were checking to see if it was a stolen bike, but it wasn't a stolen bike. And the guy told me, I didn't witness this, but that they hit his back tire and he went flying off the car, jumped out, threw him in handcuffs, and threw him in the back seat of the car. So I might have saved that guy from going to jail for no reason by recording because I ran into you guys. So it's the butterfly effect.
Good job.
Yeah. Wonderful.
No, I'm saying because you guys do this, that's why I did this.
Right, exactly.
I have a story where I've used my knowledge from watching 1A auditors. The sheriff department showed up at my house looking, they had a warrant for my stepdaughter. Of course, she was several states away and hadn't been here in 2 years. And the officer, the deputy says, can I come in and check and see if she's here? And I said, no, you cannot. And he said, well, I've got a warrant. and he was trying to trick me. And I said, yes, you have a warrant for her, but you do not have a warrant to enter my home. And I could see other deputies in the front yard and around the house that were going to come in, but at least he respected that, and it felt good. It was very powerful to let him know that I knew my rights.
Absolutely, and great job, by the way, Jason. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. You knew that he didn't have the proper warrant. You know, an arrest warrant isn't a search warrant, right? Now, if they see the person inside the house, that might be, you know, extringent circumstances per se.
Or they've gotten away with it for reports that people were in there, you know, that as well.
Right,
It's
right.
hearsay.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, when people, you know, stand up on their rights and they know, then it's a good feeling. It's a real good feeling. You know, I can't tell people enough. You know, when I was a young kid, even, you know, when I wasn't doing anything wrong, anytime a cop got behind me, I would get, you know, super nervous, you know, and I would mess up driving anyway just because there's cops behind me. You know, I don't know what the hell.
Don't you remember the female cop that got fired for TikTok because she was saying, if I stay behind you, I'm going to find a reason. If I stay behind you long enough, I'm going to find a reason to pull you over. You don't want to mess with me. I can drive 120 miles an hour. You can't. I'm above the law. She didn't say exactly that, but she might as well have.
Right, yeah.
Fired. She got fired.
Yeah.
For that.
As well, she should have been. That bitch was crazy. She's going to kill all kinds of people. See that bitch
crazy.
that fucking pulled the gun on the guy in the swimsuit? And he's laughing at her going, what's happening right now?
Yeah.
Remember? She's behind. And the guy during the I love your guys' depositions. When you guys get the depositions, oh my goodness, they're like candy to me. And when the guy asks the female cop during the eye investigation or whatever, and he's like, okay, so if you were scared, why did you come from behind the truck and continue to approach him while pointing a gun at him if you were scared of him? And she doesn't even know what to say. Like that, like, and I've seen all you guys get videos like that too. So how many lives do you save when you put them in check, like Erie's saying? Erie County. I can't remember your real name, but don't matter. I call you guys by your channels. So
my name's Gomez.
Yeah, but how many people's lives do you save by calling these cops into question, right? But you always run that risk of what happened to Carolina because, I remember I had a conversation.
Some lives tonight.
You guys remember when that cop? Sorry, go ahead. I didn't hear you. Sorry.
I'm saying I might have saved some people's lives tonight just filming them cops with a Hamburg, man. They shot a lady because she had a pen light last time.
Yes.
This guy might have had a bottle knife or something. I don't know. He could have been shot twice.
I told CFW 2 years ago or more when she had that run-in with the guy who said her name, and we were talking about it, and I'm like, those people hate you. They're going to make something bad happen to you. And I told her. But, you know, no one thinks it's going to happen to you, right? She didn't.
So, good evening, everybody. Rogue Nation, thanks for letting me in. I saw your title on this on the PII, and actually, Foshin kind of gave me a heads up you were doing this one, and I thought it would be actually fitting because we just were given a document of one officer's search history for using the driver's license database, and they didn't redact any of the results. So we have 134 different driver's license numbers, date of births, phone numbers, names, addresses, and they didn't redact it. The city just completely missed the file, and they sent it to me unredacted. And if this wasn't the first time, they also sent me about 2 months ago somebody's social security number, date of birth information, when I just asked for a business application of a small business in the local area. But one of the things I've been doing is I contact those individuals and let them know, hey, the city has not done their due diligence and ensured that your privacy has been protected. And that's one thing that all of us can do as people that are getting public records for your local areas, is holding those cities accountable for ensuring that if they are going to charge you redactions, make sure they're actually doing them and protecting the citizens' rights. I just got a video from Eustis where they didn't redact a 2-year-old's date of birth, full name, and address of where he was staying. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the problem. Like, they say that us filming in public areas is the issue. No, the city governments are just giving out public information left and right without any recourse. And
I don't know if I'm ever going to complain about them not redacting enough.
well,
I'll do my own redacting. Please give me it all.
I can absolutely respect that.
Yeah, but the point that he's making is still definitely valid. Another point that's still valid, and I think we need to check on this, is they're charging us these records, right, for these people's time to redact them and find them or whatever have you not. But these people already get paid a salary for that time period that they're in the building, right? Like, when we hand in a public record request, it's not like baseball where they pull out the designated hitter off the bench that hasn't been doing work all night to come hit the ball, right? Like, these people are already at work and they're like, oh, okay, so now I have some work to do because somebody made a request. So now I have work to do that I'm already getting paid for, but we're going to go ahead and charge you more money. You know what I mean? It's like they're double dipping, right?
I don't remember which auditor it was, but they were recording, and there was a big flip out about it because the lady was on Facebook, on her own personal Facebook, just sitting there. He was recording her for a little while too.
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, we're paying for this extra time. Like, if I'm paying extra money for the person, to redact this information that's, supposedly needs redacting, on the flip side of what Steven said is sometimes they charge you and they redact shit that they don't even need to. Like in body cams, a lot of time they'll do a lot of blurring of people that are just out in public. Like even their own police officers, I've seen them redacted their image with a blur. You know what I mean?
I've seen them redact the logo off the cop car on the one video.
That's what I'm saying, is they're so focused on the
copyrighted.
Bullshit. They're so focused on the bullshit redactions when they should be focused on the legitimate redactions of, like, a minor's full name and date of birth. Like, Jesus, this is not a very difficult job. It was a 9-minute video and they couldn't figure that out. Like, that's the length of the video and they're very minimal redactions. Like, it just bothers me.
But if you read the email that you got, they had to charge you $50 because this was the only person with the skill and knowledge able to find your record and redact it properly, right? That's the whole deal of it, right? You pay this money for this person with these skills that you could literally give your 6-year-old child. You could tell your child, honey, if you see anybody's name or birth date, just bleep it out. I can tell a 6-year-old to do that, and they can do that a lot more efficiently probably than we're getting done from the city, from these grown adults that are just, again, sitting on Facebook all day. They're already getting paid.
Yes.
They're going to charge you double. You know what I mean? Like,
but none of them know what the law is or anything to be able to even know what to redact in the first place. Just an example. So there's a huge controversy in Canada right now because numerous members of parliament were being attacked, and also there was a bunch of members of parliament that were colluding with foreign governments, rival governments. So, again, giving secrets and things they weren't supposed to. The government's response was to let the IT team know. Like the guy who comes over and re-images your computer, or like replaces it with a new tower or a monitor that doesn't work anymore. And, like he's just like a CET. computer electronics. I mean, you might have like MCSA, Microsoft, right? Something like that. And he goes, and they're like, to the head of the IT department, hey, by the way, here's all this, our MPs are being attacked, and thought that they were going to go and let the members of parliament know that this was happening to and stuff, as if that was their job. But no one knew that that wasn't their job. Do you understand?
It's on purpose.
No, nobody understood, hey, the IT department doesn't take care of stuff like that. And that's just where it ended, and just no one knew.
Well, so here's the interesting thing about the situation I explained with the David release of over 134 people. So the city right now is on the hook under the Florida Information Protection Act. They're required to notify them within 30 days. If they don't, then it's going to be a fine on the city of Orange City because they've released so much information. Here's the thing. They are trying to say that they may have been able to release that specific information. So right now they're verifying if they've actually violated anybody's rights or if they violated anybody's privacy. I was like, are we having this discussion? I'm like, so you're telling me either one, I'll be able to get all future David requests without any redactions, or two, you guys owe 134 people notifications that their information has been disseminated to the general public. So it's kind of, not say a win-win, but it's a lesson learned, I think, for the city. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And we kind of got sidetracked off the discussion just by having everybody up, and we just started shooting the shit. But to get back on that specific topic, when we go into the buildings and we hear, even if we're to hear, somebody, like, let's say I go into the building and Dan there, he's up at the counter and he's all like, my social security number is blah, blah, blah. Even if we hear that, even if we record that, even if we disseminate that information, we're still not liable. There's still no law that has been broken. Right? For example, I know my spouse's social security number, right? I could call Dan after this live stream is over and I could give him my spouse's social security number and he could write it down on a napkin sitting beside the phone, and somebody could come to Dan's house next week for a party and they need a napkin for their beer, and they pick this napkin up and it makes it into their car and they take it home, and their cousin's nephew sees it in the car and picks it up and he puts it in his back pocket. None of us are liable for any criminal activity, right? There's been no
only if it's used for nefarious means. The same as if you just made one up. The same as if you just made one up.
Exactly. I don't understand. Having any of this information is not confidential, right? People's faces aren't confidential. Their names aren't confidential. Their birthdays aren't confidential. Right? I mean, if I wanted people's names and birthdays, I'd just go to damn Facebook, right? Everybody puts their information up online. It's no secret, right? So
that's the question. What does the world or our nation define as confidential information or information that's held private other than medical records? Because that's what this is going to happen with local cities. They're going to have to make that determination of what's protected information.
I say that's about the only thing that is protected information in all reality. Otherwise, why do you have to give your date of birth to your teacher in school? Is she a fucking archivist with a I don't like that my employer has my date of birth. I don't even like that they have my last name. I don't see why that's any of your business. Right? I do not
sign a paycheck.
Should just be a number.
yeah, absolutely. You should be worker 579.
They shouldn't know my real life name.
Exactly. Worker 579, report to the office for spanking. Worker 579.
Hot.
So, yeah, this definitely is something that they're trying to use against us. Now the government Okay, as we can see right here from the thing that's been on screen the whole time we've been talking, we forgot to talk about it, but it says right here, right, the disclosure of information acquired from non-record sources such as observation, office emails, discussion with coworkers, and the rumor mill does not violate the Privacy Act, even if the information disclosed is also contained in agency records, right? So, us being in these offices and overhearing personal information, if we do, is not a violation of the Privacy Act, right? So we need to squash this stuff when it comes up. And again, I got that link in the chat, but I'll post it on the video when the video's done.
What
Bless you.
does the Privacy Act, what does it determine or define as private?
Well, it defines all that stuff as private, but only puts the obligation on the agency to keep that private. And so, in order to violate the Privacy Act, basically, let's say Dan was a government worker, right? And he had access to this information, and I was a friend of Dan's, right? And I wanted access to this information for whatever reason. Maybe he knew a girl's address, whatever have you, whatever scenario you want to bring up. And I said, Dan, I'm going to slip you $50 if, when I come to visit you in your office, you let me, dazzle your keyboard for a second and look up some information. Or if you could just look that information up for me, Dan, that would be a disclosure, right? It has to be from the record source, right? So it can't be, let's say at the Social Security office. Let's say you write down your Social Security number and you're passing it to the lady on the other side of the glass. And I'm sitting next to you and I happen to glance over and see your number that you guys are passing back and forth on the paper. The government doesn't consider that a disclosure, even if that Social Security number is a record that is kept within that agency, right? So the source of that disclosure has to be, the server that record comes on, right? That's what they consider a disclosure.
So the Social Security office would violate the act if they gave away your Social Security number.
Right. So like what Stephen is saying with the disclosure that the city did, that would be a disclosure that would violate the Privacy Act. I'm almost guaranteeing. Because all that information is listed in the Privacy Act: name, phone number, address, Social Security number, birth date. That's all personally identifiable information.
And if you saw this spreadsheet,
so it depends on which direction it's going.
Well, and I'm not for big. I'm not.
It's a Venn diagram.
So if I'm handing the person at the post office my Social Security number and somebody captures it, that's fine. If the post office is handing me my Social Security number and it gets captured, then they have broken the privacy law.
Correct. If they got that information from where the record is kept.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
So, if they heard about, let's say you go to your local post office, right? And there's a lady behind the counter and you guys know each other. It's a small town, and she just happened to be on your Facebook and knew that it was your birthday yesterday, right? And you come into the post office to mail some stuff, and she's like, oh, hey, happy 53rd birthday, Mr. Such and Such. I know your birthday was yesterday. That isn't a disclosure of personal information, even though that it might be in the agency records, right?
Okay.
that would be under like gossip or rumor mill or something of that nature, where there's that personal connection, and her source of that information isn't the fact that she went in and looked at your file, right? It's the fact that she has a passing acquaintance with you on Facebook. That's where that information came from, right?
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be a disclosure.
You
And
didn't
again,
notice you getting a whole lot of birthday cards at the post office and then wish you a happy birthday that way.
right, exactly. So,
That'd be hard to
and
prove.
right, and again, and I don't even know. I'd have to read the actual law, the Privacy Act violation. But I don't even know if it's a criminal act, even if you were to disclose information, right? Because in all, like, okay, so let me bring up. Hold on, let me. I don't know how to stop sharing this one, but
Like
So what
these
I was also gonna
124 driver's licenses or whatever got handed out. They're trying to determine if it's private information.
Well, so that's what I was going to say. Is I was going to show you guys. So in Florida, I don't know who, if the people that aren't listening, we have what's called DAVID, a driver's license and vehicle information database. And a police officer or a law enforcement officer can search your information many a ways. And we had done an audit to see if an officer had been searching our names as journalists to make sure that we weren't being retaliated against. And funny, and not say funny, but ironically enough, we ended up catching one officer actually searching both me and another journalist's name back to back. And we ended up filing actual complaints with FDLE and the city. But what I was getting at is they accidentally sent an email with an additional attachment. And in that attachment was his entire search history for over 3 months, meaning I have 3 months of people that he stopped or I tried to identify as information ranging from signature numbers to customer ID numbers, driver's license numbers, license plate numbers,
Wow.
date of births, full names. I'm talking full, middle, last, and spellings, and they're all organized. And it's wild that they released this. Now I know it was an accident, but good
They
night.
still did it.
So guess how much resistance they give up to other agencies that ask for that information.
Well, we've seen it.
Like the
We've
ATF
asked
and
for
stuff.
this. We've asked for this exact document, and we were told we wouldn't be able to ever get this, which was ironic that it was attached in the secondary email, which, oh my God, when I opened it, I was like, is this really what I'm looking at? But these cities will literally send you accident files, and sometimes it's gold.
How were you able to see what names and license he had run?
So it's a spreadsheet. It was an entire Excel spreadsheet with over 2,000 data points. So it's
But
actually
how were
22.
you able to obtain it? Freedom
So
of information?
yeah,
Or?
I did a FOIA request for all emails relating to the misuse of David. And in one of those emails, somebody had attached this entire spreadsheet for the internal affairs investigation, but they failed to go back through and redact or remove this document. So they just lumped everything together, sent the file, sent the emails, and just called it a done day. They didn't bother checking to see if there was any information.
Lazy government worker.
Yeah, well, but that we get the resistance, but they can do this, but we get the even worse resistance just to getting an audit for my own individual name. So it's just, again, I know it's an accident, but it's something to bring to the attention of like public like this. If it's happening here, it's happening in your city.
Yeah, it's like in Oklahoma, Guerrilla Publishing, that exposed the drunken judge. He's gone to several county court clerks and said, let me see the last 10 arrests or prosecutions or whatever that you've done. And they hand him the top 10, and every one of them have social security numbers, addresses, eye color, weight, everything, not redacted at all.
And we wonder why identity theft is one of the biggest crimes in our nation right now.
Right, and again they try to blame us and say that's kind of information that we're trying to collect when really that would be the stupid way to go about it is to watch people's videos trying to hope and pray you get a little bit of information when you can just go to the goddamn place that's hoarding the information usually and buy it off a disgruntled employee or something. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it's crazy. Why even mess around doing something five and dime like that when you can literally. I mean, I'm sure you could probably take 50 grand up to the DMV and find some disgruntled employee to give you access to their server or whatever, and
Well, are they going
take the
to
50
issue?
grand.
Are they going to issue federal charges to the city? I mean, they did it to you and Foshin. I mean, like it's like I said, I just hate the idiocracy of this whole thing.
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah. Some of the stuff you just gotta laugh at and slap yourself in the face because it's so stupid. It's like slapstick. You know what I mean? It's like yeah. Anybody that's seen Mel Brooks' History of the World, I mean, that's pretty much a documentary. You know what I mean? Like people think it's a comedy, but that's pretty much like a documentary of how the world functioned. You know what I mean? You had rich guys throughout the ages. He was king. The lady bent over. He lifted up her dress. It's good to be the king. You know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these municipalities, you've got people there that are elected and they're there for a short time and then they bring in a new crew. Well, no wonder they keep fucking everything up because they learning their jobs, they don't know the law, and it's a constant turnover in those places.
How good do you think the crew was that was running the whole show in the town that LIA has highlighted? A bunch of people did with that mayor that played "Bitch Better Have My Money" during the city council meeting. That had like the $300,000 a year security detail and all that stuff. The black lady.
Oh yeah, we were talking about her earlier, but I mean that's par for course. I mean, without all the people on the social media like pointing a finger at her, I mean they would sweep that under the rug, and she might have been reelected next go around. Because that shit happens all over the place.
She cost the city like $5 million or more, or something like that.
Has she been arrested yet?
No, she hasn't been arrested yet. That's what I'm saying. Like, they'll throw a scapegoat every now and again to kind of like appease the masses and be like, look, we're tough on crime or we're fighting corruption. We just busted one of our own. But in reality, in reality, it's sort of like the drug kingpins kind of thinking. I'll call the cops on one truck so that 30 other trucks can get through. You know what I mean? Like that's the mentality they have. We'll throw one politician away and expose them as being corrupt, so that way me and five of my other buddies don't get exposed.
Sheriff Chitwood just did this with Stephen Corbin, Deputy Stephen Corbin. He literally melted down his badge during an election cycle, trying to like garner favor. When I don't know if any of you guys don't know who Sheriff Chitwood is, but he is not a fan of the First Amendment. He actually prefers that we curb the First Amendment, and he also doesn't believe that children have a Fourth Amendment right to privacy. Like, this guy's not in my opinion a good sheriff, and he does that exact thing. He plays this like gang mentality, like we'll put patsies up, we'll put sacrificial lambs up to appease the masses.
Absolutely, it's just a game. It's just an illusion, just like voting. You have to keep the people believing, and that certain stuff gives people the illusion of freedom. Voting's one of them. If my vote counts and yada yada yada. But I mean, that's easy enough stuff to manipulate. You find two people that the community seems to back, and you pick one of them to win. But it doesn't matter because both of them are in your pocket. You know what I mean? You've got photographs of them messing around on their spouses for both of them. So they're going to do whatever you want anyway. So it doesn't matter to you who wins. Um, so you know what I mean? Like, these
And if they
people,
don't have the evidence, then they manufacture it.
oh, absolutely.
Like the FBI did with Trump's documents. And now they've admitted in court filings that they showed up there with all those things that said top secret and all those file folders and everything like that. They brought those with them as placeholders, and none of those documents are in the order that they were found in. These were things that were strewn about in dozens of boxes, and they went through and found things that they thought were secret and then put these top secret cover sheets on the documents, but there's no proof that those were even secret documents, and they brought the placeholders with them that said secret.
Yeah. It just, people are naive about how, things get done, and it's just the way it is. Just like, I don't know
It's
if
all an
anybody's
episode of Burn Notice. You ever see that show? Burn
Oh, yeah,
Notice, where he's the
yeah.
Burn spy? It's all that.
Yeah, I love Burn Notice. But a real life Burn Notice is that Karen Reed trial that's been going on. Like, if that doesn't scream, corruption and cover up, I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard a case that does.
I don't
Like,
remember what that is. What is that?
It's that case where that lady supposedly ran over her boyfriend, who was a Boston cop up there in Massachusetts, and I think Turtle Boy was covering it, and he got a whole bunch of charges. They said he was intimidating witnesses or something. I don't know the whole deal on that, but I have been keeping track of this trial, and these stories these people are putting out, and you're talking about police officers, an ATF agent, the state police. Like, it's just a complete clown show, dude. Like,
Yep.
I don't know. You're paying these guys, $100,000 a year, right, to be these cops and investigators.
80 to 350.
right. And as this investigator, you don't even knock on the door nor interview any of the people in the house where this guy was found dead on the lawn. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine, like, and I don't know if he was the one in the house that actually called the cops, but can you imagine waking up, in your house in the morning and you see, cops all around, there's a dead guy in your lawn, and not only do you not go outside to find out what the hell's going on, but the cops never knock on your door and ask you what the hell's going on. You know what I mean? Like, knock, knock. Hey, there's a dead guy in your yard. What the hell's going on? You know what I mean? Like, you would think, and forgive me, I've never spent the 6 weeks in cop school, but you would think, part of the 2-hour investigator crash course expert training that they get, one of the first things that they would say is, if someone's found dead near a house or a building, you should investigate that house or building, right?
Yeah, there might be cameras.
There might be cameras. I mean, there's all kinds of
There's
evidence.
a million reasons why you'd go to the house.
Right. I mean, or a building. I mean, he could have been inside the building. There could have been a drug deal inside the building. He could have been shot inside and wandered outside. There's all kinds of stuff, right, that you got to think about. I would hope, again, this is, my disclosure, guys. I haven't spent 6 weeks in police academy. So
probably the toughest 6 weeks of your life, I'm telling you.
Yeah. And they do give that 2-hour investigator class. So I'm not sure if they were able to cover simple things like, question people that live within 20 feet of a murder.
Is that the one where they talk about their 1-inch penis?
Kind of.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean,
yeah, that one that everybody exposed, where they had the New Jersey or whatever and the seminar and stuff. And the guy's like, I don't have a 3-inch penis, and the other guy's like, I have a 3-inch penis, and the other guy's like, I don't have a 1-inch penis, and they're all talking about their penis and stuff. Remember?
Ridiculous. You know, the street
Yeah.
cops.
That was me. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
No, yeah, I remember the street cop stuff for sure.
And you know the Karen Reed stuff, and wherever that is, Mass. The whole investigation is just a joke because you know they're trying to frame this lady and trying to make all the evidence point at her, and they brought in the accident reconstructionist for the state troopers, and her lawyer asked him and said, "Well, are there physics that show if he's struck by the car and you say it threw him 30 feet, is there a formula to determine that, like some kind of physics?" And he goes, "What do you mean by physics?" He was just a clown.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you mean by physics?
Yeah. And then the
You know,
FBI reconstructionist came in and just blew that shit out of the water.
oh
They
man,
came in and saved the day for that lady.
yeah, because I watched closing arguments today, and I don't feel that she's going to be convicted. I don't see how they can convict her.
No.
I mean, it's just literally there's so much evidence that doesn't point any way towards what they're saying.
And the shame is you can't go after the cops for doing this, you know, because there's missing video footage from the storage place where they searched the car, and you know, it's a joke. The records they were studying the ignitions where the car was started, and said, well, it came to our lab, and this is where we started the car. And that's how they determined, because it recorded her speed was backing up at 24 miles an hour. And he said, well, look, didn't it have to be loaded on a tow truck in that one of them? You know, just ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's horrible that she had to go through this, but I think it's enlightening that a lot of people are getting a dose of this, because
Yeah.
a lot of people don't believe that you know somebody in authority could be involved in something like this. You know what I mean? Like it blows their mind. And even with this case, 6 months down the road, they're going to be right back to believing that oh, these people, they just want what's best for us, and they would never hurt us, and they're good, honest, hardworking people.
Yep.
I got a good question. They say back in the time of Revolutionary War, 33% of the Americans wanted a civil, a revolution. 33% didn't care, and 33% were loyalists. What do you think they stand at today, those odds?
Oh, I'd say the loyalists are at least 60 to 70% right now. Either loyalists to the Republican or loyalists to the Democrat. Whenever stuff starts to flare up, they always like to switch sides. So a couple of years this guy, a couple of years that guy. We'll keep both sides appeased, and just keep struggling. Struggling. I always tell people, all we got to do is vote harder. Freedom is just one election away. But yeah, I'm being a sarcastic asshole, really. You know what I mean? Like, because it doesn't matter. This is pretty much the plot that's been laid out for us, and we're just pretty much along for the ride. Like James Freeman would say, he's just documenting the downfall, because really at this point it's such a juggernaut to even try to overcome. It's not the fact of the money so much; it's the fact that these people are ingrained and indoctrinated, and they'll just steamroll you. Like every other organization or person that ever thought outside of the box, they've labeled them. They've, in some cases, attacked them, like the Ruby Ridge incident, or the Montana Freeman, that incident, or Fulcrum, or any of these people, and the majority.
It's like you said, Rogue, as long as they can appease us with something here and something there, and keep us 50-50 and keep us arguing with each other, then they can move the money around while we're not watching. And then it's like, I can't remember what comedian said. He said, if we did like they used to do in England and go up in that castle and chop some heads off, they'll put the money back then.
Well, it's exactly right. It's exactly right. And that's why the founder said, the tree of liberty needs to be um, replenished from time to time because, left unchecked, it's just like, with the credit card thing, left unchecked long enough, you're going to find somebody that's going to abuse it. It's going to be human nature for somebody to try to get more out of the system due to their, privilege. They're gonna take a bribe, or they're gonna, do something of that nature in order to, try to make a better life for them and theirs. Which again is the power of the draw. You know what I mean? Like that's how you get poor people defending, rich people, is because they envision that one day they will themselves be rich, and they don't want people attacking them.
Right.
Meanwhile, not even realizing that they're going to be poor until they die, and the system is just going to keep perpetrating itself the same way it's always been. These rich people, they don't reach out, they don't come to our country clubs and our barbecues offering stock tips and stuff like that. They keep that shit in the family and in their circle. And it's reported that if you're born a millionaire, there's a 22% chance that you'll be a millionaire the rest of your life. Whereas if you're not born a millionaire, there's only a 17% chance that you'll be a millionaire. And the reason is because they keep that shit amongst themselves. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm the rich CEO and I've got a son, and my son needs a job, and my other best friend, he's the CEO of a pharmacy company. Hey, why don't you give my boy a job as a lobbyist? Up in Congress, he knows a lot of people because I always host elaborate dinner parties, and I always have congressmen and representatives, rubbing elbows with my mail order, 18-year-old bride. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's how shit works.
It's weird you mentioned that.
Sorry. Paul Mooney. Paul Mooney used to write for Richard Pryor, and you hear him talk about, they want to keep black people and white people against each other and poor people fighting, because actually white people and black people have more in common than poor people have in common with rich people.
Wait, what? Gregory the cameraman coming in with that super sticker? My man.
Good job.
Sorry, guys.
I lost. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just saying I was going to wrap this up because I got some stuff to do. The wife is cracking the whip on me.
I'm cleaning cat litter boxes.
Luckily, I have an I have an outside cat, which is awesome. He comes to the door for food and water, and I don't see him other than that. And he likes the wife. He'll bother the wife, but he won't bother me because I'm a dog guy. So, which is funny because we just watched Meet the Parents last night with the kids for the first time, and they had the cat thing with the cat. I thought it was pretty funny with Robert De Niro.
Listen, the cat.
Yeah. But I want to thank everybody for coming up on the panel and taking valuable time to be with us tonight. 10th Man, Stephen Saunders, Jason, Mr. Erie County.
Thanks again, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm humbled to be here with you guys. I watch all your stuff and Dan's stuff, and You guys are amazing. You do amazing work.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to have my mic on.
No, that's fine. That's fine. All right,
And
guys. I'll wrap it up. Everybody, if you can do anything for Caroline, support or whatever, please think about it. And we'll see everybody again soon. We've got lots
You
of
don't
stuff
donate
coming.
to Caroline, you're on my enemies list.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. All right,
If
guys.
you don't donate to Caroline, you're not fam.
You're not fam. All right, guys. I'll see
See you
everybody
guys.
soon.